Welcome to another video. Today want to tell you a little bit about qi and blood from the view of Chinese medicine. Qi and blood, we have on the red side the qi aspect, and on the blue side we have the blood aspect. I choose these two colors because qi is more in the function or in the shape. It's more like the yang character, so that's the reason why I use the red color. And the blood is the opposite, is more like we have to see in the function or in the meaning what is yin. So we can say qi and blood in our body has the same relationship like yin and yang in the body. Yin and yang is in every area, in every organ, in every system, is the foundation of everything. So it's the only rule or the only law. It's really the foundation of everything. We see when we have yin, then we have yang. When we have yang, then we have yin. So we only can see or understand one, yin or yang, when we know the opposite, because otherwise we can not have this relationship. And when we look to these two Chinese characters, so we have on this side we have the character for the qi, and most of you will know or have seen these characters so many times. And we have two characters, they come together as one. And when we look, this is the old Chinese writing. Today we only have, in the modern writing, we only have, or it's only left one character. But when you look to this character qi, qi is translated from Chinese to English as gas, or the breathing, or the atmosphere, or like a fog, or so it looks more like a fog or a steam or whatever. So this is the meaning or the translation of qi. But it's also like when you look at qi function, or is to do something strong, or when we get angry or something like that. This also can be the translation from qi into another language. So, but the meaning of this is like an energy. This is it's more like a thinking. It could be an energy. I think when you look to the classic, in the classical book, there is no a word for energy. There are words from vitality or life strength, or the most important, or the stuff for the activity, for the function. But it's never, when we look to the classic, is this word like energy we use in the modern world. But when we say this is life energy, then we are closer to the terms of the old Chinese thinking. And when we look to these two characters, we have one character is today for rice. So this character, some scientists say in the olden days it was a character for millet, not for rice. After the cultivating of rice, they change. So it doesn't matter. It means like food, or like grain, or something to eat that can translate in other stage. And when we look the second character, this is more this vapor or gas, or also the breathing. And when we look to the thinking of the universe, so we believe in Chinese medicine or in the Chinese culture that even the whole universe is breathing, and this breathing in out is like the function of yin and yang. We can see the same function like day, night, or winter, summer, all this changing. And it's so important that we know the word qi cannot translate in English or in German or whatever. So will say it's qi and not say it's energy. Because we see when we translate, it could be as the word energy we use normally for qi, we can use the word for breath or breathing or oxygen or something like that. So it's really complicated because the term of qi, it depends on the situation we use this word qi. But when we look, there are two characters, became one, now it's just one again. So it means a transformation, and a transformation is all the time is a function, so it's a dynamic. And when we understand this is the dynamic, like the breathing in, out, so we understand this is the foundation of every living creature. No one on earth is this human or animals. So every human or animal has to breathe, otherwise there is no vitality. When you look to this side, the character for blood in Chinese medicine, this is a really old character. And we see this is like a stone. And in this stone is carved out a hollow, and then it's like a pot. And this pot is made for this time when the old Chinese culture, they had blood sacrifices, and when they cut an animal or a human for blood sacrifices, so they have to collect the blood. So this means a drop of blood, it comes into this pot. This pot is on a table or is on the ground. So it looks really what it is to collect the blood. But this is to see a function and a power, a transformation. When we look to this both, then we see this is yang and this is yin. And yang is always in relation to the yin, is always warm, is yang, and cool or cold is yin. And so we can say qi warms the body. In relation to blood, blood cools the body. And we can say this is the active, the movement, and this we can say is the opposite, is the nourishment. So this is active in moving, in function, to accelerate all the stuff in our body. So, but this is the nourishing, so it's the opposite. This is the giving, this is the taking. This is the same like when we say yang creates. New is this spot that can beginning a new creation, but the yin is the collecting of the substances, and each of them need the other, the opposite, to have really a function that makes a vitality. So another relation when we say this is the protecting, and the protecting is really important that we see. Protecting is it's like immune system, but a good immune system needs a good nourishment. So in Western medicine we know when someone has a lack or a bad immune system, so in some part in the body there are some bad nourishment. So when we see this is the active, the protecting, so it's more in the outside and the blood is more in the inside. So protect from the surface against the outside, and this is more in the inside to have this moistening and nourishment. And so we can say the relation between these two is this is yang, and on the other side this is the yin. And both of them are same important. There is no qualification, and we can say the qi is more important or the blood is less important. So it's the same. And we have a saying in the Chinese classic, and the saying is qi moves the blood. So without the force of the qi, the blood cannot flow. And on the other hand, blood is the mother of qi. That means blood feeds the qi. So they're in the relation between each other, so like yin and yang. When you go further, then we can say who is the producer of qi and blood in the body. And we can say the beginning of the transformation so we can create any kind of qi and blood is the transformation from food and water. And we take out from the food and the water the most important nourishment. So we take out the proteins, we take out the vitamins, we take out the fats, everything we can get from our food and water. So it's the beginning of the cycle to produce qi and blood. And that's the reason why we say spleen and stomach are in both, in qi and blood production, the producer. So spleen and stomach are the producer, or the first, or in the beginning the most important to produce new qi and blood. The stomach is the source of food and water, because when we eat, when we drink, food and water goes straight in the stomach, and in the stomach we have the first transformation, the fermentation of the food. And we look to the Western medicine, so we know in the stomach we have the first transformation that starts in the mouth. But when you look in the stomach, we have this really important fermentation or transformation from the proteins. So it's one of the most digestive work starts in the stomach. So that's the reason why stomach is so important for qi and blood production. And the spleen is not the active part of this first transformation in the middle, but is like the brain. So, or it's like the boss that only controls and say, please stomach, now it's time to digest. And when we say spleen in modern days, we say spleen and pancreas. Pancreas was not in the classic, so we can found or find in the classics something written about pancreas. We know in the Huangdi Neijing there is only a mark of an organ is some 100 grams and has this shape like a worm, but they thought they're just fat, so they have no function for this worm. They wrote in the classics, but they cannot say this organ has a function, so they just threw away. That's the reason why we just talk in the classic about spleen, and today spleen and pancreas we bring together, and this makes sense comparing to Western medicine. When we go further, we can say the commander. Commander is the job you can look what is the most important you have to do. So when the lung is the commander of the qi, so is the lung responsible for the activity of the qi, for the flowing of the qi. And the qi is not like invincible electricity. In the classic, we see the qi is more like a vapor. And it's not that thick like blood, but it's like a vapor with a lot of strength. And this vapor will create in the lungs, and the lungs will collect all this vapor, and then it's led to circulate this vapor or this qi through the body. So every cell gets enough qi. On the other side, the commander of blood are heart. And when we say heart, we should say heart and pancreas, pericardium. heart and pericardium are the commander for the blood circulation. In the classics, there are only 5 tongue organ, the solid organ, and today we collect 6 tongue organ. But in the beginning there was only 5, so we never split heart and pancreas, heart and pericardium away. So it's always heart and pericardium was one organ. When we go further, the storehouse of the qi is the chest. It's the chest, or the area around Ren 17, Shansong. This area is the collecting or the storage or the storehouse of the qi. The storehouse of the blood is the liver. It's the same idea like in Western medicine. Liver has one of his multiple function is to store the blood. So we can say liver is the storage for the blood. But the liver has, like the lung or the heart, pericardium, stomach, spleen, many other jobs. When we go further, the foundation of everything in the human body are the kidney. The kidneys are the source of everything, for the yin and for the yang, so for the qi and for the blood. The qing, the essence is stored in the kidney, and only when we have the kidney, and we have the kidneys are the only organ there is a pair. We have two lungs, but there's only one lung. So we have the left and right lung parts, but there's only one lung. But the kidneys, there are really 2 independent organs, and so they are the only 2 pairing organs in the body. And for the Chinese, this was the sign that it must be yin and yang. And this is really interesting. When we look the right kidney, in the classic there is the right kidney is not the kidney himself, because it's Ming Men. So the gate of vitality, and the left kidney is the right kidney, the organ kidney. So we have in this saying, we have 2 kidneys, one is yang and one is yin. And that's important that we see the kidney is the foundation of everything in the body. It's the first element, it's the water element, and it's like when we say the beginning of the planet Earth, then after this creation of a new planet, in the beginning this was this sea. There was a big sea, and there was not really life on Earth on the beginning. There was only some cells in this big sea, and then it creates from 1 cell, 2 cells. It creates fishes, birds, or animals, or humans. So it's the same thinking in Chinese medicine. We have the beginning in the water element, and the water has the ability to produce from his own water and fire. And in the beginning it's just water. And when we see that thinking, then we can understand it's the beginning, and we can understand it in the Qing, the essence we got from our parents, is our genetic code. And so we start with 1 cell when we get when our parents make the creation of ourselves. So they give this information from the genetic code. The sperm and the egg come together, and then we have 1 cell, and then we multiply to 2, 4, and and later on. So it's the same thinking. The genetic code is stored in the kidney in the essence. And when we have one cell in the beginning with this genetic code, and then they get further more cells, so every cell has the source information, and the source information is stored in the kidney. So I hope you enjoyed this G and blood relation, producer, commander, storage and foundation, and I hope I see you again in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.